happy to welcome on stage. We have got the wonderful Andy from Bike New York. I'm going to get you to tell us a little bit about your fabulous event as part of how you're thinking about growing international participation. But excitingly, I'm going to see it myself next week, flying over on Tuesday to be part of the crew. So very exciting. And then Catherine from Vienna, we've just met. We're already going on holiday together. We're having a lovely relationship already. She's told me some fabulous things about Vienna. So this is very definitely one that I want to go and spend time at soon. I'm not going to spoil what I'm sure you're going to tell everyone, which may or may not have involved dancing. So I'll let you tell everyone that, but they sound like absolutely fabulous events. And I'm super excited to get stuck in and talk about international participation, what it looks like right now within your businesses, and I guess what the future is going to be as well. First question, actually, well, start off with a little bit of a fact. I didn't necessarily know how big international was as an element of your businesses before we started talking about this. You're at different ends of the spectrum, actually, right now when it comes to the international level. Catherine, I know that it's different by distance, but you said for your marathon, it's about 60% international and 40% national, which is insane. And Andy, you're about 6% last year. Both surprised me, I guess, for different reasons. Bit of an obvious question, I think, given that your cities are two amazing and culturally significant and just kind of iconic cities in the world. But what is it you think about your events and your cities that does attract the international participants? Ladies first.
Thank you. When it comes to Vienna, so I think there are a lot of differences between Vienna and New York City. Vienna is the capital of Austria. So in Austria, 8 million people live, which is quite small. So we had to go abroad to bring people to Vienna and the Vienna City Marathon. Vienna is, of course, known for music, for culture, for architecture. And of course, it's a touristy city, so it makes it easier for us, for the Vienna City Marathon, to bring people here. Mm-hmm. Of course, our Austrian participants, they are super important, and we build up the marathon in the last 42 years on our Austrian participants. Mm. But as I said before, it's limited. So we had to go abroad and see where can the people come from. And then we had to find out the reasons why are people traveling to run Vienna, or why would they love to come? So they want to combine or want to have the combination between music and sports and want to enjoy all this stuff. So it's all about the running, but it's also maybe the side events or concerts or things we develop around the topic of music. So we have this strong combination of these two languages, which are really understood worldwide without words. So, and this is the USP which Vienna stands for internationally.
Amazing. Andy?
Well, I think, look, New York attracts 65 million tourists annually, and yet we're only able to get 6% of our ridership. But our country is large enough that, and in the New York City market, 68% of our riders come from the tri-state area. Mm-hmm. But in order to grow our event, and Mayor Adams 2 years ago said that he wants our event to be the largest cycling event in the world, mm-hmm. we need the international market. And mm-hmm. Sam referenced current events. So unfortunately, there are some things that have been going on that are impacting our ability to attract international riders. We've always had international participants. I'm going to just take a second. How many of you out there have actually heard of the Fibro Bike Tour? All right. And you all work for Let's Do This?
No, I don't do it. I don't know.
So you know, just a description of the event. It's 40 miles. It's closed streets. It's truly a rolling party on wheels. So 15 entertainment zones. We've got rest areas. We have a fantastic finish festival. And you get to bike on roads that are never closed for anything. You know, it's just traffic. So you get to ride on the BQE, you get to ride on the FDR Drive, you get to ride across the Verrazano Bridge. The only day of the year is the first Sunday in May. So next year, I hope all of you are going to come out and ride across the Verrazano Bridge. Some of you probably run across it for the New York City Marathon, but it's really a special event, and the international participants who do come are so thrilled to be there. Last year, I saw a group of Danes that were dressed as Vikings with the flags on their backs. There was a group of Ecuadorian cyclists that were all dressed in their national soccer jerseys. So we have the international participants. This year, we're probably going to be off by 50% probably, just because of some things that are going on, and especially Canadians are not going to come. So we really are going to have to do some things over the next couple of years, and with Let's Do This, and thank you for the team for inviting me to be a part of it. But we chose Let's Do This because we think they're the best in the industry at attracting international participants in their platform and their marketing team. So we're really looking forward to overcome that challenge that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, and I know obviously we're talking about US and involving a long flight, even if you're potentially in the US to get to New York, but it's so accessible. Like, New York's such an iconic city. It doesn't feel like, you know, you're just looking at your nearby neighbors, you know, combining it with a trip in New York just feels like something we should all be doing next year. So I'm sure we'll all be signing up, Andy.
We would love that.
But Catherine, how has international attendance changed for you? Is it been pretty stable at that kind of 60% level, or has it been a gradual increase?
Yeah, I can say that after COVID, the numbers of international participants and Austrian participants, they both raised the same level. So yeah, it grew, but in the same level as Austrians are taking part. Yeah.
Amazing. And it's very much the marathon, isn't it, that's the distance that's got the highest level of international, which I guess makes sense. People
and this is one really cool benefit we have, as you said before, as we have the Vienna City Marathon event weekend with 46,000 participants on Saturday and Sunday. We have on Sunday the marathon, the half marathon, and the relay starting all together on one bridge and sharing the first 21K together. So even if you haven't trained enough for in the winter months, you can choose to go to the half marathon finish line, and you will receive a medal, and you will receive a result. And also the relay is on the same course and at the same time. So the marathon is super international. The half marathon also has about 30 to 35% international runners, which is quite high for a half marathon as well. And when it comes to the relay, it's about 99 or 98% national. It's really domestic, and the relay is all about businesses, companies, and sponsors who bring their staff, who bring their teams, their partners, and they celebrate together in the finish line in VIP and hospitality tents. So this is how we have the chance to grow from our smaller and smaller races, shorter distances, to the marathon distance. So if you have taken part in the relay once, you are super excited. And if you do this first, and then next year you go to the half marathon, and then you see, oh my God, okay, maybe I can do the marathon. So we have built a event structure, which helps us growing. Yes.
Amazing. And a question which I'll phrase slightly differently for both of you, but Catherine, question to you, have you had to change the event experience to entice international participants? And the version for Andy is, do you think you will need to change, or do you feel like the event experience that you've got right now works equally well for national and international?
Well, I think our event, it's been basically the same for 47 years. If we were going to change, and one thing we have changed is we have a bike rental partner. So a lot of the international riders, they need to rent bikes. So it's very convenient. We created a pickup zone relatively close to the start line. And then you can drop off in Staten Island, which is where the event ends, right before you get on the ferry. So it's really convenient for our out-of-town guests. But then we started hearing that some people wanted to bring their bikes, and they're just more comfortable on their own bikes. So with our partner, we created a concierge program where you can ship your bike to their one of their shops. They'll build it out for you. You come in, you pick it up, you ride it, and then you return it to them. They'll break it down, put it back in the box, and ship it back to you. So I do think we're going to have to think through some other ways to entice international participants. We already work with some tour operators, and maybe working more closely with them about, do we add theater tickets? What other New York City experiences could we layer in besides the event? We're pretty comfortable with the event itself.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, same here. Of course, there's always room for development. I think I don't want to do the same marathon every year. It's like, I mean, it's the Vienna City Marathon, but our team always wants to get better and improve. And we have the lesson that at the moment, so I said before, music is one of our key topics in Vienna. And so we try not to focus only on classical music. We do, of course, and we have cool projects going on. But we also try to help newcomers in the music business, young DJs, young musicians, to get on stage. So we help them to go to make or to share their music through the Vienna City Marathon. So we have spots on the course where they can present themselves. We promote them online through social media. So we try to really cover the whole range of music we have in Vienna, which is quite wide. And we try to find every single year we try to find a specific project which is really outstanding or really unique, so which makes us feel special and which is special for the participants. Yeah.
And I'd love to kind of dive more into the sales and marketing side of the event now. And Catherine, that's just a beautiful segue of music being such a part of the experience and obviously part of Vienna. It's what it's known for. You gave me a sneak preview of things that have happened already that have been involved in music and what's coming up as well. So it'd be amazing if you told everyone about that, because it's such a big part of what will entice people there.
Yeah, sure. This year, Vienna City Marathon took part on 6th of April, so 3 weeks ago. Some of you in the room have been taking part. Thanks for coming. I really enjoyed it. And this year is also the 200th birthday of the waltz king Johann Strauss. He's the guy who composed the Danube Waltz, for example. And this year, with the organizers of this year, we partnered up in Vienna, and we had some projects going on in the Vienna City Marathon. And one of the projects was a waltz dancing world record at the starting line of the Vienna City Marathon, and which we never thought we were going to make it happen until and then we started to work on it, and we got more confident. And yes, and in the end, over 2,000 couples really danced a waltz in their starting blocks at 8:35 in the morning at 3 degrees. It was absolutely freezing, but maybe they were happy to have a nice warm-up program. But we had super nice pictures, and we had dancing schools from Vienna involved, people dancing in front of the starting line on the bridge. So these are super special projects we make, and these bring us really a lot of content also in the media sector, not only in sports, but also in culture. So we can widen up our communication strategy with projects like this. And and I can talk a little bit about next year. It's going to be super special. Next year, this will be the first concert from Vienna Symphonic Orchestra, together with musicians who run a marathon from all over the world. The runners will take part in a marathon, can bring their instruments to Vienna, and play together with the Vienna Symphonic Orchestra the day before the marathon in the world-famous Musikverein. This is the place where the New Year's concert takes place. So it's open for public. I think 1,500 tickets will be sold. So it's a super cool story, and we try to bring so many people from different countries, from Kazakhstan to Australia to the US, from neighboring countries, to be part of this concert, which shows that running and music, it promotes peace and joy over the world.
It's been such a theme of today, from everyone going down the festival and music, and it just the movement, isn't it, and the expression is obviously working an amazing way of extending your reach as well. It's fantastic. Yeah. Andy, sales and marketing, what are you thinking about?
I think we've had some good working relationships with the Dutch consulate. You know, we're the home of the UN, so I think we need to expand our discussion with various consulates to try to attract their participants. Maybe there's some business opportunities. You know, if there are any brands that are interested in sponsoring the tour, whether it's doing like a pasta party or something along those lines. We are more aggressively going to work with what's called NYC Tourism, which is our city's marketing and tourism agency. So they've put stuff on social media, they've done little things for us, but now we're discussing, should we be going on some of what they're referred to as these trade missions, or what they're calling reverse missions, where tour operators from all over the world are coming to New York, and maybe we need to be in front of those people to talk to them. Like one has to do with, it was recommended to me, is bringing high school kids are going on trips to New York City all the time. Some of them are probably there the week of the Fibro Bike Tour, but they don't know that it's on, so how do we communicate with them?
Yeah.
So we're looking at that. There's also something called Brand USA, which is the US Tourism and Marketing Group. So either I'm going to be part of an advisory group or just kind of loosely advising them on the cycling industry in the country. So we're going to try and tap into their resources to do that. For the first time, we have actually it'll be the second time, but Jens Voigt, who's a famous German cyclist, he's coming to ride. So he's been posting on social, so trying to find some international influencers, preferably former athletes, whether they were footballers, marathon runners, cyclists, that could generate some interest. So those are just a few of the things that we're looking at. At this point. Yeah.
And it's great, and doubling down on the things that kind of make the event special is amazing. And I love the idea of the high school we talked earlier on this morning about getting people into it young, and once you've got them, you get people coming back again and again, don't you, to some of your points earlier. In the spirit of sharing, which is what we've all been doing, talking about our trials and errors and the things that we've not done as well all through the day, what are some things that you've tried on the sales and marketing side for international that haven't really worked, and you would tell anyone to proceed with caution because it might not be successful? Have you made any mistakes, any at all?
Yes, no. We did a lot of mistakes, and I think it's super important to say mistakes are perfectly fine, and you only learn from mistakes.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, yes.
When you don't learn, it's a problem.
No,
Yeah.
this is the problem. You lose a lot of money then. No, yes, for example, when it comes to marketing strategies, when we try to Vienna is really in the center of Europe, so it's really convenient to travel to Vienna. You have, like, within a 40 or 50 minutes car drive, we have the capital of the Slovakia, which is Bratislava, and the Czech Republic is quite close, and all the eastern neighboring countries. And we said, why don't we have a lot of people from these countries running in Austria? So we started to promote the race there. We went there to the expos. We tried really to get the people there. And then we realized, and then we did some research and found out that it's, of course, the cost of living in their countries is so much lower than it is in Austria, and our pricing strategy for the Vienna City Marathon just doesn't fit in their calendar. It doesn't fit in their lives. So we do not have a lot of people from the neighboring countries. Right. So, and also when it comes, for example, for the Czech Republic, we try to get people from the Czech Republic, but then we learned that they just don't want to come, because with Run Czech, they have such a strong group there, doing so many national races on a really good basis. They don't need to come to Vienna. So then we said, okay, so we leave it. We don't gonna put our money in there. We find other markets which are willing to come, and where they have the money and the power to come. So we said, okay, lesson learned. We don't do any promotion there anymore. If they want to come, they are more than welcome, but we don't put promotional money in there. Yeah.
And was it Germany, and there was another country you said was one of your biggest contributors for international?
Yes, if we have a look on this year's marathon, it was the Germans, and then people from UK, which is super cool. And then the Italians are super strong every year, and and France.
Yeah. France, amazing. Andy, any trial and errors you can share?
Well, I think the error was that we were resting on our laurels. We knew we were going to get our 6% number every year until this year. So I think we have to kind of double down and do more on the international market. So I don't have any negatives because we haven't really spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah, but I think you're right, though, that in itself, though, of sort of doing the same thing and just assuming it will keep working. Like,
Yeah.
so many external factors come at play, don't they, and cause you to have to think a bit differently.
Well, I will. I mean, the Canadian market, for obvious reasons, was our best international market, followed by the Dutch, the UK, significant, Germany, Japan. We actually, for whatever reason, we've had a good relationship with the Japanese government, an event called Cycling Shimanami, and then with the Taiwan government, my colleague just spoke at the Taiwan Cycle Show, which is the largest cycling expo in the world. So we do have a fair amount of Asian tourists that do come in. Mm-hmm. So I think, again, things that have been working without us actually spending any money, we probably need to do a little bit more. And then talking to our partners who have some international reach. TD Bank is our title sponsor, and they're fantastic, but they're not terribly interested in if we get a lot of people from the UK because they don't have a market there. Yeah, so we'll be looking at those other things.
That makes sense. And you conveniently just mentioned government, which is a lovely segue, Andy. Obviously, bringing in international participants, you would think is a great thing for the economy, that governments, tourism offices are going to be super supportive and super behind you. Do you get a lot of active support from them, or are you kind of working in silo there? Catherine's face doesn't look like she gets a lot of support.
No, we get support, of course, but it could always be better, you know.
Yeah.
And Andy, I think you mentioned a super important point. Also, with our sponsors, they are not really super happy with a 60% international number.
Oh,
I mean, we have international sponsors like Adidas or BMW, but when if we're talking about our main sponsors, they are banks from Austria and they're retailers which are based in Austria. So they are not happy if we increase the number of much higher, you know. But when we're talking about the tourism board, yes, of course, they're supporting us. Mm-hmm. But if we are talking just from a race director's perspective, we get the same registration fee from an Austrian as from a people who travels from the US to Austria. So, yes, we always try to show them what we are doing, how many people are traveling to the Vienna City Marathon, how much money they leave in Vienna, how long are they staying. So we have these studies going on every year. And yes, it gets better, but there could be, of course, more support.
Always. Andy?
Without our partnership with the city, we wouldn't have an event. I mean, they have to shut down the streets. The only other time it happens is with the marathon, as Mary knows. We would love more support. They don't like change. And so the route has been the same for years. And this might tie in with maybe your last question, but we're trying to encourage the city to allow us to have between 2 and 5 different routes so that we can rotate it periodically, because some people will say, well, I've done it 3 times. Do I really want to do it a 4th? If we can rotate it periodically. And plus, New York City, there's so much to see. Yeah. And we don't get to go to everything. Just like the New York City Marathon, we barely go in the Bronx. And we've been lobbying for a couple of years now to get more time in the Bronx. So we'll see. But the partnership's really strong, but it can always be better.
Things can always improve. I've got a really aggressive countdown clock on my peripheral vision, so I'm going to make sure I leave a bit of time for questions, but I think that's been hopefully given everyone a great flavour of your events, and as I say, I think we might be increasing international participation just from this panel. But has anyone got any questions they'd like to ask? We've got one from Ed. Rob's coming for you, Ed.
Thanks so much, that was really interesting. First of all, I just wanted to congratulate Andy and your team on your logo, which is a masterpiece.
Thank you.
But my question's for Catherine. I guess with the growth of like the World Marathon Majors, and as someone who's been burned by that ballot many years in a row, I'm just wondering how proactively do you position yourself to capitalize upon overflow from people who haven't been able to get into some of the more oversubscribed marathons, or do you prefer to stick to your lane and just do what you do well?
Look, for the marathon, we are time and space limited anyway. In Vienna, we are struggling with the government, not with the tourism, but with the government, if we want to have the roads like 10 minutes more open for the runners. So at the moment, we are really on our limit when it comes to maximum capacity of runners. What we can do, we can shift between the distances. So we can say we can accept more marathon instead of half marathon runners. But of course, if the big races really experience such a huge boom, all the second level races are going to benefit from it. Sure, yes.
I'm wondering if you've ever explored a similar coalition to the marathon majors with other, as you call them, like second level races, or is that not on the cards?
Yes, yeah, we had discussions about it, but as you probably all know, collaborations and partnering up is not always as easy as it seems. And yeah, and who are the next level races?
Good question.
Any final questions?
Can I
Oh,
just
Andy,
say one?
sorry, Andy, absolutely.
No, I see we're 55 seconds
Really?
over.
No, we're in the minus numbers now, and
Yeah.
it's gone red. It's fine. We can't see it.
Well, I think I'm the only cycling event in the room. Maybe there are the triathlons, but some non-traditional partnerships might be interesting. So if anybody here wants to collaborate, Catherine, if you want us to help you get some New Yorkers or Americans to come, we'd love to chat with anybody who thinks they have an idea to bring more international participants to our event.
Collaboration is very much
Yeah,
the spirit of the
all
day.
that.
So on that note, thank you, Andy and Catherine.
Thank you.